Can you tell me how you came about being involved in that parade?
Yes, so I was elected as the General Secretary of the University of Manchester Students' Union in March, and then I met Colette, who was talking at the Operations Black Vote van outside the university. Went in to kind of chat to whoever's in there, and then she told me about this event, and then she was also speaking at something else at the union, so I spoke to her more about it, and we kind of got together. So I was involving myself, Robert, and Jordan, who's the president of Manchester Metropolitan Students' Union, and we all kind of got together and said we want to really, get this youth day completely fantastic and move it on. So it was absolutely great, and Robert had the great idea of making it something very different, very interactive, so that actually the youth have a voice and can lead the debate, because what happens very often is youth don't really feel like they have the voice. They are told things, they're spoken at, and we wanted to change that and actually say what you think actually matters most, and that's how it should be in terms of talking about issues for our generation and being the generation that will next take charge.
Yes, because that's the thing, because your view as a youngster, and I won't ask your age, but you do seem very young, it would be different to somebody who was maybe of the Windrush generation, or somebody like me who's in the 50s.
Yeah.
And you're very right in saying that we have to keep, the longer we go away from Africa, the less Africa will be in our minds.
Yeah.
The younger people, such as yourself, have to be reminded of the history and why we still need this kind of Pan-Africanism. So how did you set about, once the three of you decided, how did you go about, organising it, getting members? What means did you?
So what we did was first we decided we wanted to train. So we came up with a training program of 5 questions, and we thought, what did we want out of it? And really, we wanted to go back to the core of how it's all about identity, really, because for us to understand about Africa and Pan-Africanism, youth have to find their identity, and that's something that we've kind of lost. We're very much, I was born in this country, but my parents are Ghanaian, and it's finding that they are very much in touch with their Ghanaian roots, and they still speak the language. I don't, I only speak English, and it's finding that aspect of being African still, while still tackling the fact that you've actually probably never lived there. Some people have never even been there, and how do you find that? So we decided to go back to the basis. So our questions were around who are we, where do we come from, where are we going, what we're doing now, and really trying to get the foundation of our ideas with the Pan-African spirit in it. And for me, it was really trying to teach young people what Pan-Africanism is. So we went to different youth groups, which included the union, MMU union, my students' union, the Young Identity, a school that Robert works with, a group in Factory Youth Centre. We went around to all these different youth centres and we trained them up, and we asked them these questions, and we showed them videos of history, a video on Pan-Africanism, and I think a lot of them were like, wow, I didn't know about this, and it was really incredible to see. And then obviously we had other people invited, and then we all brought them together at that Friday event to really explore those ideas in detail. And obviously there'll be parts of it with film, and you'll see that actually really great things I think came out of it, and really great vibrant discussion. And that's the best kind of discussion that we can have, because it's not an easy topic. It's not easy to just say Pan-Africanism and everyone gets what it means, because everyone has a different experiences when they talk about something. So it was great to have people talk about their different experiences.
And the thing is, a lot of people, you're of Ghanaian heritage, I'm of Nigerian heritage, so we are of African, but a lot of people are from the Caribbean and may not, and unfortunately there's some uneducated, well I was uneducated, people who believe that they're not African, they're from the Caribbean and they're English, but at the end of the day we all link back to that. And if you of African heritage and somebody of a Caribbean heritage went for a job, or something, they'd still be treated in the same. So we all are of this link, wherever we may have ended up with,
exactly.
Born in England, St. Lucia, Ghana, we still have this African thing, and that's what we need in terms of the unity. So have you ever thought about going into places such as prisons, or other schools where there's maybe they're not doing very well?
I think that's really the next step. I was talking to Robert about how we develop this, because we don't want this to just end now. We want to keep it going and get the momentum. And I think that's the next step. I know there's a lot of people. We have some groups in our school that go and work with youth groups, etc., and in prisons. But I really want to target and go to especially black students and black young people who don't have that, and feel like there aren't any role models out there of their age, because I'm 22, and I would hope that someone would say like, oh, you've done quite well, you've done okay for yourself, and I could say to them like, actually you can do the same, and you don't have to necessarily be from a certain background to make it. You just have to have aspiration and drive. So I think that's the next step in terms of when we tackle that identity problems, because I think that comes hand in hand with not understanding your roots. And you've been told for a very long time Africa's like this, it's like that, and that's why people don't want to associate with it. And I think we need to break that barrier of like, I'm very proud to be African, and I'm very proud to do the things I'm doing and represent my community and make the world better. So
I mean, I agree with a point that you made about the lack of role models. You're just an ordinary girl. You just come across as a very working class, ordinary background. When we do have role models, too often they let us down. You know, you see them. I was saying, for example, now I'm in my 50s, but you look at all these hip-hop things and it's scantily dressed girls, and inevitably they're as light as possible, as if there's something wrong with a beautiful... Look at this beautiful dark girl here. You don't tell me black is beautiful, look at this lovely girl here. But inevitably, it's always, you see these films and it's like there's something wrong with us, you know, like they've got these green eyes and blonde, it's terrible. And then, you know, where they're swearing and talking about hoes and shooting people. And there are very few role models, and sometimes they disassociate themselves from that community. And what we need is ordinary, not necessarily hip-hop stars or footballers, people like you who come from an ordinary background but have these aspirations that you can do as well as anybody. So you can set, you yourself can set a wonderful example. But your view on Pan-Africanism, is it that, okay, we're all from Africa originally, but are you of this sort of Garveyism attitude that Dr. Johnson, for example? I don't know if you heard him speak.
I've heard him speak,
He's a little bit separatist. Which is, do you agree that, look, we've been here for 100 years, but we're still not equal. We're supposed to have this equal rights and we can go anywhere we want, but in theory, but in practice it's different. So are you more of a separatist in that, you know, we're never going to get equal rights, we have to do things for ourselves? Or do you believe, look, this is we're born here, so we should stay here? What's your kind of...
I'm not of the separatist. I think, for me, I was born in this country, and I have the rights to have as many things as I want from this country as I have. Where my parents are from, obviously, are part of my history, but this is home to me. This is where I've grown up, and I love Ghana. I've been there several times, but this is my home, so I deserve to be in charge of what happens here and make decisions in this country. And I think, yes, we should have more black businesses and more black people working with each other. If you look at simple things like, look at the black hair. I've not met a single black owned black hair shop owner. Things like that are ridiculous, because that's something that's for our community that we don't even own. But when it comes to things that are for everyone, like for everyone in this country, we should have as much to say. And I don't think we don't necessarily get that by being separate, because by being separate we move ourselves maybe to an enclosed group, and in a way sometimes that causes more tension to others, because it's a suspicion thing of what are they doing, and not that they should be suspicious, but I think all coloured people should unite, because then our voices are even stronger. Because there's certain things, yes, African, Asian people, Muslim people, Christian people have differences in the ways they want to go about it, but there are underlining institutional racism that we are all facing, because we've got some colour in our skin, whether or not you were African or Asian. And I think we need to really tackle those problems together, and then we can talk about our differences later, but there are some overall issues that we need to talk about. So I'm very much in a collaborative, working with everyone, because we're not represented at all across them. So if we start to say I'm not represented because this person's not, then we're definitely not going to get where we need to be.
Okay, well, thank you ever so much.
Thank you
Thank you very much
so much.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.